Hey guys, today Karakin unleashed a brilliant attack on Sam Shankland to even the score. And let us see this beautiful game played by Karakin. He started with e4, e6. Already a surprise on first move. Sam Shankland is known mainly for his Sicilian, and when he has to surprise his opponent, he uses Karakin. So this must have come as a surprise to Karakin, who answered one surprise with another. D3. He goes for King's Indian attack. It was a favorite approach of Bobby Fischer in his early days, although later he switched to d4 followed by nc3. Well, in any case, d5, a usual strategy to meet King's Indian attack, knight d2, knight f6, knight f3, bishop e7, g3. Of course, this is another typical feature of King's Indian attack. White goes for kingside fianchetto. a5. Black is gaining space on the queen side. This is the typical strategy. Black will play advanced pawns on queen side and white will go ahead on the king side. Bishop g2, a4. Black continues with his strategy of queen side expansion. a3, c5, castles, knight c6, a rapid development of queen side, rook e1, castles, e5. Of course, again we see a thematic King's Indian side attack move. Now e5 is very thematic and in accordance with the principles of King's Indian attack, because white will have to play on king side and therefore he needs space on center and king side. Knight fd7, knight f1, b5. Black continues with aggressive intentions on queen side, h4, and white on king side, bishop b7. Now this move, it is a double-edged sword. The positive aspect is that it mobilizes, it creates space for queen and rook to join the queen side, and plus this bishop, it can mobilize itself when the center pawn moves, particularly d5 to d4. But there is a weakness also. The weakness is that now this e6 pawn of black, it loses an important defender. So in future when black will have to play f6, then this e6 pawn becomes very weak, which can be targeted by playing this bishop g2 to h3. h5, white continues to expand on the king side. h6, a restriction move. Bishop f4. Now this is the problem with h6. Although it restricts white on the king side, otherwise white is threatening to go ahead with h6 and then black replies with g6, and then there is a hole on f6 which can be exploited. So black plays h6 to restrict, but now the problem is that it has given a hook. Now white can attack h6 by using bishop and then supporting this bishop by his queen. Queen b6. Now this again, this move prepares this rook, and now the king side rook can join the queen side and expand on and help the expansion on the queen side. But there is a problem that very soon black will have to retreat the queen, otherwise the king side remains very weak. Queen d2. Of course white will attack h6. Rook fc8. This was the main purpose behind the queen move, to allow the king side rook to join the queen side. g4. White continues his thematic expansion. Queen d8. Of course this is necessary because otherwise the king side will remain very weak, and then g5 becomes very dangerous. Knight 1 to h2. It is a very useful move because in future this knight can occupy g4 square. Rook a6. Now again it is a multi-purpose move. First is that in many lines this rook can come to b6 and help in b4 expansion. Another important thing is that once this knight on c6 moves, then the rook can defend e6 pawn. King h1. This move is necessary because the rook will have to occupy the g file, and rook g1 is now it becomes possible for white to play rook g1. b4, of course, black will expand on the queen side. Rook g1. Knight f8. Again it is a useful move to defend the king side. Black will have to be very careful because it looks like he has an initiative on the queen side, which is quite natural in king's Indian attack. But the problem is that anytime situation can become very tricky, and white need just one good blow on the king side to checkmate. As you will see, exactly this thing happened here in this game. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, d4, knight a5. So now black is preparing to occupy this important c4 square. So his initiative on queen side is gaining momentum. g5. On another hand, white is advancing on the king side. Now things can turn dangerous for black, but at present his initiative and dynamic position on the queen side is balanced by white's initiative on the king side. Knight c4, queen c1 necessary to protect the b2 pawn. Now this queen c1, this move is necessary for two things. One, it protects this key b2 pawn, and second, it is necessary to maintain the pressure on h6. So even if white can think of sacrificing b2 pawn, but in any case this pressure on h6, it is very important. This cannot be left here. Pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, b3, black advances here, bishop takes bishop. Now things are looking really dangerous for black because now this g file, it is opening up and it can be very risky for black. One miscalculation, one good sacrifice by white, and then things can really turn very dangerous. Queen takes bishop, bishop, of course, quite a natural move. White opens up the g file, and this is the big blunder. Now so far things were balanced. Of course they were in white's favor, but they were not so deadly for black. But now it is dead lost. So it was necessary, after bishop f1 instead of a3, it is necessary to play something like f5 or f6, so that this queen can defend the king side and it can prevent white's next move. Rook g7, a brilliant sacrifice and only move to win the game. Otherwise black is very well here. So now let us see why this move became possible. It became possible because black did not play f5, and only because of this sacrifice, this possibility of rook sacrifice on g7, it is very important for black to go for something like f5. Now this rook g7 is not possible because queen can recapture the rook. Well, in any case, as it happened, a3, rook g7, king takes rook, and now knight g4. That's why this maneuver is very typical in king's Indian attack. Knight 1 to h2, and now knight, after knight g4. Now of course it is not possible to defend black's position. f5. So he is trying to give up his queen. Pawn takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. Knight takes queen. Pawn takes pawn. Of course, white goes for checkmate. King f7. It is just a formality. Now he could have easily resigned here. h6, threatening mate in one with queen g7. Knight g6. Knight h4. Pawn takes. So it looks like Sam Shankland is in a humorous mood. Queen takes knight check. King e7. Queen g7. King d6. And now queen d7. So guys, we see quite an instructive and interesting game, especially for those people who want to prepare King's Indian attack. And let me tell you, King's Indian attack is a very flexible and very useful. So particularly it sidesteps main lines. There is no need to remember tons of lines like in Najdorf King's Indian attack or something like that. And plus it can be played against King's in French defense. It can be played against Caro-Kann. Although against Caro-Kann it is not so effective, but still it can be played. It can be played against Sicilian Scheveningen. So you don't have to prepare for Kann, Sicilian Kann. No need to prepare for Scheveningen. No need to prepare for Taimanov. So it is quite a useful attack. Plus there are many themes, many interesting patterns. So it saves a lot of time. No need to prepare a ton of theory. So if you want to prepare King's Indian attack, then this game is really very important, very instructive.